Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome to some more StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. Today I'm going to be showing you a game that I played a little while back versus a guy named Neymar, I don't know exactly how to pronounce his name, but he's going to be the Terran player spawning on the other side of the map, and he says, holy shit, I'm a fan. That's pretty nice of him. I didn't actually remember that, but this is a pretty cool example game of how strong Ultralisks and Queens can be when supported with a bunch of Zerglings. So here's the idea behind this strategy, right? Queen's got this ability that you all know. It's going to be transfused. It basically heals something up, you know, when it is a low HP. And obviously, Ultralisk got a lot of armor right now. They got, like, I believe in total 8 armor. That's a lot more than they had in Heart of the Swarm and in Wings of Liberty. So Ultralisk all of a sudden are one of the strongest units in the game. And when you basically transfuse them and make sure they do not die, you have a very, very powerful army that seems to be near unstoppable. So I've been playing this a bunch. Adding on the extra Queens is actually a very, very solid strategy to do in Heart of the Swarm as well. But right now in Legacy of the Void, you have so much more uses for Ultralisk. So the extra Queens that you make are a great addition to the Zerg army. Now obviously there's all kinds of weaknesses to this. For example, if you go pure Queen Ultra, how are you gonna beat anything, you know, such as like drops? How are you gonna beat Terran drops when they, like, you know, pick up everything in the Domata and go straight for your base and, you know, just try and kill you that way? So there's all kinds of different weaknesses that this strategy does have, but I've been messing around with it quite a bit, and honestly, it's a very, very potent army composition, very, very powerful. Especially when you're reinforced with near purely Zerglings, as long as you have Queens once again injecting at home. So there's all kinds of little minor tweaks to this. Now, in this game, I do end up going for Zergling Baneling early on, and then I transition into a couple of Swarm Hosts as well. Swarm Hosts, I desperately try to make them work, and oftentimes you can make good use of them, although I believe in this game, I don't particularly do it very well. But that's alright. It's mainly about the Zergling and Baneling early on, and then into the Queens, and then into the Ultras later on into the game. Now, my opponent in this one, I don't know exactly what level of play he plays at, but he plays a very, very standard Terran play. Very, very normal, like, bio siege tank stuff that basically Terran players have been doing since the dawn of StarCraft 2. And right now I realize, okay, there's a quick command center right there on the low ground. I'm gonna make a couple of Queens and a couple of Zerglings to defend, you know, at home. So obviously I need to be careful. If I skip out on any kind of anti-air, you know, if I skip out on any kind of, that's the mine, by the way, right there. I was like, wait, what happened? No, but that's the mine right there that that can explode from the new Reaper ability. But if I skip out on Mutalisk altogether, if I skip out on Hydralisk altogether, if I, you know, really don't have much to defend all of these kind of standard Terran things, such as drops, I will have a very hard time cleaning any of that up. The one thing that I've noticed though is that pure Zergling defense versus drops is actually remarkably good. It's actually pretty reasonable as long as you have Adrenal Glands. Adrenal Glands make Zerglings attack 40% faster, and it makes a massive difference in cleaning up drops. So in the later part of the game, I feel like you're okay with maybe some static defense, but Zerglings just hitting around all over the map, and you know, a couple of them not hotkeyed in every single base is actually a great way of defending drops. Now my opponent is gonna try and jump up once again. He is gonna be able to get out of there once again as well. I tried setting up a trap, but sadly didn't quite manage to get there. But ooh, get him, Lowko! I don't know actually if I got him. Oh wow, he jinxed me. He jinxed me pretty hard. Wow, wow, he actually managed to get out of there. Great. So I'm gonna follow this up with some quick Zergling upgrades. Knowing that these upgrades will carry over all the way to the Hive, I feel like this is one of the strongest follow-ups you can go for. And I'm gonna use the Zerglings, now that Zergling speed is done, for a little bit of scouting as well. Now a lot of Terran players started going for this Hellion into Banshee stuff, or like this siege tank dropping stuff. That seems to be the standard right now. So the good old like Hellion Banshee aggression that Terran players have been playing for the longest time. But right now also the tank drops are a great addition. I don't actually remember exactly which one he went for, but I'm gonna be going for my third base right now, and I'm gonna get some more gases going very shortly. We'll be starting up +1/+1, and after that I will also be starting up my lair. So sadly he does manage to wall in just barely before my Zerglings arrive there. Ideally, I do want to fly in the Overlord right now, but it's a little bit risky since I am already kind of low on minerals. So, you know, I'm trying not to, but it might be the better choice right now to just fly in an Overlord, and maybe even 2 Overlords, just to try and get that get that vision out. Now, I am gonna get some banelings out. I've been trying this strategy in the past as well. Yeah, there we go, we did fly in the Overlord. But I've been trying this strategy in the past as well by completely skipping out banelings as well. And it just makes it so much riskier. And even though banelings obviously are very expensive in gas, and, you know, the baneling nest and the upgrade and whatnot are not cheap either, it seems like it is the correct thing to do. Now, I'm already researching the primatized Carapace as well, but here I see, okay, there's a third command center. I don't need to worry about this too much, right? Well, turns out you can actually make plenty of units out of a third command center as well. And, you know, right now I'm like, okay, 10 drones, that seems reasonable, knowing that my opponent isn't moving out. But look at the minimap. I got one major mistake right here. These couple of Zerglings are not positioned properly. I could have scouted this from moving out a lot earlier, but he's already halfway across the map. I should have put my Zerglings right there and had a Zergling at the watchtower, so I knew that this was gonna happen. At this point, I am like in pure panic mode because I'm like, oh snap, I don't have anything whatsoever. Adding on a lot of queens, adding on a lot of Zerglings, but this is by far the scariest moment in the game. My opponent managed to completely dodge my army, and without me seeing it, I'm in a lot of trouble. These siege tanks obviously will siege up in the middle of the creep right there, and I'm trying to desperately reinforce all of this, but without my upgrades finished, he will be able to just one-shot these Zerglings and the banelings as well, and I need to get my armor upgrade, you know, if I want to like efficiently defend this. Now, I'm trying to not lose everything, trying to move down the ramp right here, and my opponent manages to clean that up just fine. He's in a lovely position right now. I do manage to target fire down one of the medevacs, and, you know, I got a lot of extra queens here as well. Do I have another transfuse? Yes, I do have another transfuse available, reinforcing with more and more Zerglings, but honestly, as you can see, like, my macro is starting slipping, and I am really not spending very much of anything anymore. Gonna start up +2/+2, gonna start up another hatchery as well for the macro hatchery, but now that +1/+1 is done, I may have a bit of an easier time. So here we go. I'm gonna move my queens down to the low ground to try and kill off these siege tanks right when they unsiege. He is gonna pick up one of the siege tanks. We'll be able to pick up the other one right there as well, I believe. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, you can put two in them right there. And he does manage to go home, but obviously I took a ridiculous amount of damage right there. Even though it wasn't the sickest economy damage, in the meantime, my opponent had plenty of time to get his own third base up and mining. So very, very powerful attack, mainly caused by the misplacement of my own units. Didn't really realize that he was moving across the map. So yeah, I do make plenty of rookie mistakes like that myself as well. Now, I do want to try and get to the point where I get a hive up, where I want to get my ultras up, but in the meantime, the one thing that you should have noticed from this middle part of the game is that I've been focusing a lot on more queens. If you take a look right now at the unit tab, I got 8 queens out already, and if you're getting 8 queens because you need to defend these sort of things, or because you are gonna, you know, defend against drops with them or something like that, you may as well get a good creep spread going, which I really don't have right now, but also you may as well go for ultras. Ultralisks obviously are great with the transfuse, and I'm gonna get a couple of swarm hosts right now to sort of bridge that gap between me being at lair and me going up towards the hive tech. Now, I got +2/+2 about to finish up. I also have the baneling speed about to finish up, so I do want to do a little bit of aggression right now. It would be a very good timing to move across the map, even if I don't plan on getting a whole lot done. +2/+2 is a great, you know, is a great upgrade, and obviously the baneling speed helps out a lot as well. But it looks like my opponent is already moving forward once again. Now, my swarmers are out, and I do want to try and make them useful, but it's pretty tough. It is pretty tough, so I believe I'm going to spawn a couple of the flying locusts right now. Yeah, there we go. And I'm going to try and clean up most of these Terran units, not looking too amazing. Flying locusts moving in right now as well. Now you can see how incredibly quickly they do get shut down. I do get a little bit lucky right there by the friendly fire of the siege tanks. But it looks like, for now at the very least, my opponent is scared away. But it looks like he also has his 4th base already finished up. So solid macro on my opponent's side of the map. Whereas I'm sort of messing up a lot. Still don't have any mining going on at my 4th base. And I will be able to start up my Ultralisk Cavern. I will be able to start up +3/+3 and Adrenal Glands. But still, I'm not in the greatest of positions. But I do spot right there that my opponent does unsiege. So I will make a massive amount of drones right now for my 3rd base, or for my 4th base rather. And I'm going to try and see if I catch any of these siege tanks off guard. And I will be able to get a couple right here. And this is massive. I believe in total right there, 4 siege tanks went down. +2/+2, very powerful against that army when they are not paying attention and when they're not sieged up. And I will be able to take a nice little group of units right there. Now, I honestly think that if I played this a little bit better throughout the entirety of the game, I wouldn't be even in supply. I would be probably pretty far ahead. Instead, you can see that the Terran player is still pushing forward in the amount of supply that he has, and the fact that he has a fort base up helps out a lot as well. Now, I know though that I will be able to beat on a Terran army that is maxed out with a maxed out Zerg army, so it doesn't really matter all too much right now. Now, I'm moving in my swarm host, trying to figure out what distance you can actually, you know, spawn these flying locusts at. Turns out if you put them all the way over here, you try and attack this base, it is much too far. But my opponent has started finding my weakness. He knows that I don't have anything to defend these kind of drops. And even though my Zerglings are pretty powerful right now, +2/+2 or +1/+1 Marines right there with Stimpack versus +1/+1 Zerglings are really not that amazing when they're supported by medevacs. Now, Ultralisks are on the production tab though, a lot of Queens are out as well, and my Ultras will be able to come out very soon. And they obviously will be able to clean up this, at least for the time being. But in the meantime, if you take a look at income, my opponent is actually ahead in income. And this is where things get real scary for Zerg players. You never want to be in this position where the Zerg or where the Terran player has, you know, a bigger economy than you and even more workers. I mean, mules alone obviously are too powerful already. I once again make the same mistake, really not paying very much attention to these swarmers that also... Definitely a lot of room for improvement there. But I do have a solid army right now. I got Queens out. I got a lot of Ultras out. I got my +3/+3 finishing up. And I got my Chitinous Plating out. Actually, I only just now start +3 attack. But that's alright. But you can see that I will be able to start moving across the map very, very, very soon. The Queens that are left over from that early game harass are going to be used to transfuse those Ultralisks. And very shortly, you will be able to see the power that these units have when combined together. So I will be getting a Spire right there in case he does keep on continuing with the drop play. I am gonna try and save this base as well. But keep in mind, this is on creep. The Queens will be able to move in here very rapidly, trying to hit all of the transfuses on the front Ultralisk right there. Not a single Ultralisk is really taking damage to begin with, but with the transfuse, obviously I will be able to take an enormous amount of army down right there. And even though I do have, or I did lose a base right there, I do already have a replacement for that one ready to go as well. As long as I clean up this drop, I will be able to start dishing out the damage to my opponent. Now, supply-wise, it's not looking that great. My opponent's actually flooding a ton of minerals and gas right there as well. And I think if you may have spent that a little bit better, the next fight that will be happening wouldn't go, you know, as poorly as it will. But here we go. We are gonna start clashing right here in the middle of the map. I do want to wait a little bit for my Queens to come in. Obviously, Queens off of creep are very, very slow. I still wish they will add an upgrade for that where we can move off of creep a little bit faster. But yeah, I'm gonna go for another base. Gotta make sure that I get another base up and going. But the Queens are leading the charge. Now, as long as the Queens are in range for transfuse, this is gonna be the best situation I can be in. I'm gonna try moving forward right here. I'm just gonna try and harass at different angles. So here we go. Transfuses on the Ultralisk. There we go. Nice little bit. Ooh. We'll be able to get all of them alive at the very least, and now I'm attack moving. I will be able to attack move all of this army down for the most part at the very least, and then I will also be able to transfuse all of these Ultralisks. Now, Ultralisk with +3/+3 and Chitinous Plating, or +3 armor at the very least, will take absolutely no damage. I'm trying to micro back the weakened Ultralisk. I'm trying my very hardest to move my Queens in range once again, transfuse up the weakened Ultras, but at this point reinforcing with purely Zerglings that do have Adrenal Glands, I will be able to do a ridiculous amount of damage to my opponent. Now, just taking it very slowly. Do want to stay patient. I don't want to be caught off guard right here with a lot of Ultralisk and a lot of Queens. But, you know, as long as I hit the transfuses before the fight, it's going to be in a nice position. And, well, this base right here does not have much of a chance. I'm splitting up half of my army. Looking at these Ultras, you can see the amount of damage that they will be able to deal right now. Waiting for my Zerglings to reinforce across the map. And very shortly, well, he will be landing some mules, but very shortly, my opponent will be forced to GG out of the map. So, I would highly recommend that if you are in this situation where you are, you know, adding on extra Queens and you are adding on extra you know, extra, maybe even just means of creep spread. Bring over the queens to the battle later on into the game and get some Ultralisks going. The amount of transfuse you can do and the amount of damage you can do with Ultras is absolutely insane. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, hit that like button below the video, and also make sure you hit that subscribe button so you will be the very first one to get a notification when I upload another. I want to thank you guys all for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, and I will see you in the next one.